It is Monday, July 20th, 2020. I'm Pastor Thor Ramsey, and this is Gospel for 5, where we take 5 minutes out of our day and focus on the gospel and the one who saved our souls. Last week, we ended talking about prayer, and we like there's what I have a team of experts here? Anyway, last week, I ended talking about prayer, and I think the idea was pray as though God is in control. You know, the way Jesus prayed, thy will be done, not my will be done. So we were really getting at what is your attitude toward prayer? How many of these statements can you agree with? And I was only able to touch on them. So let me do it a little more thoroughly today. Again, these reveal attitudes about prayer. So how many of these statements can you agree with? God is really interested in my conversing with him. Is that something you agree with? That God's really interested in you talking to him? I think sometimes if we step back and think about it, we go, I'm not sure I see God that way. I still have a hard time just because of the bad theology I was introduced to as a very young Christian. Thank you, Keith Green. I still love Keith's music, but his theology and the Finneyite theology that he espoused it's absolutely horrid theology. But anyway, the idea that I'm left with, that I still struggle with, is that prayer is more of something like, I expect you to pray to me. Not that he really wants to hear what I have to say, but I should just be doing it out of a duty, just showing my dependency upon him, not because he really wants to hear what I have to say, not because he wants to actually engage with me, converse with me. How about this? Prayer will accomplish much good. It is not pointless. Man, I can't tell you how many Christians actually struggle with that. Prayer will accomplish much good. It is not pointless. I've actually had conversations with Christians who feel prayer is pointless. And some of that, what's that have to do with? It has to do with their view of God, specifically the sovereignty of God. It's a erroneous view of the sovereignty of God, but it's also an erroneous view of prayer, as if prayer does not accomplish things, as if prayer does not change things. How about this? God longs to capture my heart, and that is done through prayer. I am as independent and self-willed as God says I am. Yeah. I have a spirit of timidity that desperately needs God. Yeah, I don't know if you struggle this way, but you feel broken, and in your brokenness, you're going to the Father, but your idea of God is that God's saying, well, if you'd have just done what I told you to do, you wouldn't be in this mess. Right? Instead of coming along and really wanting to heal our brokenness, he's really just kind of rebuking us in our brokenness. But again, how many times do the lies of the enemy sneak in there? How many of these fiery darts actually make their way in as we're going to prayer, or as we're thinking about prayer, or just in our daily thoughts? Prayer is a great investment of my time. Do you agree with that? I desperately need God even when I am not in crisis. I tend to function better when I'm not in crisis, actually. I function better through encouragement when things are going well, when there's momentum. Then I'm for building more momentum. So that's why, quite honestly, this last month and a half has been quite a struggle, just because things keep shutting down. As we feel like things are moving somewhere, moving a direction, moving towards opening up, they shut down again. And I don't know if you feel this way, but I think everyone's feeling it, but it just feels like you're treading water. And there you are, you're treading water. And that's why you're going, is there a ship coming to save us? That's kind of how it feels. How about this? The Father is there, he hears me, and he will respond. Boy, I pray a lot. I don't know what my expectation is, if I'm honest, in my prayers. What is my expectation like? His response is always very good, even if my circumstances do not improve. His response is always very good, even if my circumstances do not improve. That is, to actually agree with that, you have to have a view of God's nature and character that is convinced emotionally that he is loving and has your best interests at heart. I'm involved in a spiritual battle. People can be converted or changed through my prayers. Prayer is a time of adoration and personal worship. So all these attitudes align with the biblical record, and it's the kind of faith the church needs, because we don't often pray because we just don't think it's going to do any good. That is so, so tragic. Now, we only have 5 minutes, so what has God said to you today, and what are you going to do about it?